everyone. Welcome to the Lady Body Podcast. And it's my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited. And I am like, wow, 31 years old. I feel like we were just sitting here
That's what I was
talking
about to
about
say.
30.
I was just about to say that. We talked about your last birthday, too.
Like, I don't know how it's going by so fast and it's crazy. And I just feel so blessed and so excited, even in the midst of like so much going on, which we'll get into. But I just want to say thank you for everyone who is tuning in and who is always following the mission, following my journey. And yeah, I'm excited. So I will say, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see behind me these amazing paintings by my girl, Samira, who, if you've been in my LYB gym, you've seen the big, like, Love Your Body sign in there, right? The artwork that's incredible. And she did that for me last year for my birthday. And I was like, I would love some paintings in my living room because, we joke about it, but I usually sit here in the dark and I just like never have any light in, kind of like a vampire. And, and I'm like, no, I'm feeling like lighter now. I'm feeling more just like at ease with things and at peace. And I was thinking about what this would look like what I would want it to be. And basically I told her, I said, look, I am aspiring to travel more. I want to do more events and things like that. And I've gone a lot of cool places. And because I've gotten to go and like do a lot of things, I wanted to like remember that and see that on my walls and kind of always with me. And yeah, I love pictures. So basically what I did was I had her do one painting of a place that I will always feel at peace at and I have like such good memories with. And that was the Santa Monica Pier. So that's the painting behind me. And I went there when I first was starting out my business to see my mentor because she lives in Hermosa Beach. I've talked about her before, Susie Gorman Green, and we biked, like 30 miles to this spot. And we went to Muscle Beach as well. And it was just such a beautiful day. And like at that time in my life, I didn't know like what Dani D Fitness was going to be. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing essentially, but I felt like I was, but I had no merit, right? I didn't know, are people going to show up? Like, are they going to come to my events? Are they going to, train with me? Because people say all these things, right? And the people who I'd spoke with were like, yeah, we'll follow you. We'll do whatever you need. We'll do all the things. And it was, kind of an unsure time, but I was like, I'm just going to go embrace this, have fun, do this vacation after working at this corporate job. And yeah, and so for my birthday, I went there. And so, yes, it's just a beautiful moment. And I'm going to read the Bible verse that I have at the top, just for those of you who are just listening and not watching. But it's, show me the right path, O Lord. Point out the road for me to follow. Lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves me. All day long, I put my hope in you. Psalm 25. 4-5. So the reason I picked that Bible verse, because I went through a bunch of them, but really I've been in a season of working towards just, being my best self, health, mind, body, spirit, everything, and feeling a lot more at peace with things. And I have just kind of given it to him of what path to go down. And it's crazy because I'll tell you the big announcement in a second, but I wanted to tell the rest of my paintings. So the other painting I have is I wanted a compilation of all the places, like not all, but like a lot of the iconic, memorable places I've been and that I've had so much fun going or that I want to go to. So what she did was she did this one over here with Times Square. And so we have the Statue of Liberty, which I've been to, Times Square, which you've all seen me at. But if you look back behind here, and this is like the clouds are kind of like a dream and like, kind of like manifesting and things like that. So behind here we have the Leaning Tower of Pisa, because I would love to go to Italy. The Batman building, because, my home. And then we have the Chrysler building. And then we have the Eiffel Tower. Okay. And I've always, if I'm part French, so I've always wanted to go to France. And that's a dream of mine to do that. And definitely one of the bucket list, things. So the other one is the Hollywood sign over here. So this one, she was she didn't really know how to do this, right? But I was like, look, I want to go back to the Grand Canyon because when I first went, I wasn't my healthiest. We just walked around it. We didn't bike. We didn't hike. We didn't do the water rafting or anything at the bottom. You know what I mean? Some of the cool stuff that I had no idea was even there. And honestly, at that time in my life and my journey, I was like 19. So I really wouldn't have been able to fully enjoy it. Like we were just hot, and my legs were chafing. Like I just wasn't comfortable in my body. And so I would love to go back at, my my most fit and feel good and do those activities. But we did zip line, and that was cool when we were there. And then also the Golden Gate Bridge. I went to San Francisco when I was little with my mom and my grandmother. So I loved that. And she added the glitter on there. And then the Hollywood sign I actually went to with my mentor. And we like hiked up there and went and saw that. And that was really cool. So, and that's like a big thing for me because I want to go on I hate to say reality TV, but I want to go on like Survivor.
Yeah, no, I got you.
You know what I mean? So like that's another thing that's like, or a show like that. And so that's why another thing of like manifesting kind of like Hollywood. So anyway, so those are the paintings.
I freaking love that. That was the first thing I said whenever I walked in today. I was like mind blown by this because of what you're joking about.
Yeah.
And here I was like, that's a fantastic, like, I love the like watercolor almost that she uses. So tell me again who you said. I know you said
Samira.
Samira.
That's her
so
name.
How do you know
Yep.
her?
So actually, the suicide prevention walk that I first did when I think it was like 2 years. Yeah, it was over 2 years ago. I had done that event, and at the time, I had been telling everybody I was looking for a mural, whatever. Talked to some people. They were pricing me like way too high, and I was just like, okay, whatever. I kind of gave up on it. Well, and I was like, it'll happen when it happens. And I was doing Move Fit, and I had my booth there. And my mom said that this girl came up to her booth, was talking about Dandy Fitness, whatever. And my mom was like, oh, what do you do? And she said, artwork. And she's like, well, my daughter's looking for a mural to be done. Could she connect with you? So she gave my mom her card, and I reached out, and literally within, I think, 2 weeks time, she had the LYB canvas, all that done.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
That is awesome. Yeah, I love her style, and like
Yeah.
even like the glitter in it.
Yeah.
Like a watercolor, but it's also like kind of jumps out at you because of some of the elements of it. I like it a
Right.
lot.
And so, if for those of you listening, you need to be watching on YouTube. So you can see these paintings.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
But it's so cool because, like I said, I was looking at again, all the places I want to go to and I want to travel and I want to do. And I really didn't feel like super intense about it has to be this, and this. I was just like, here are some pictures of great places I've been. And then also like a couple places I want to go. If you can incorporate it, cool. I don't know what that looks like. Go with it. And that's like my kind of mentality with things. I am not the, what's the word? Like, I'm not the artistic in this. Like I can piece the idea together and like and she was like, I love the idea. I love this, whatever, but I can't see it, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
And so that's kind of like,
I think that's an amazing thing that that's what that ended up being, given that.
Yeah.
Like that's what you gave her and that's what she did. That's incredible.
Right. So yeah, so she was like, no, I love the idea. And she's like, made it work and it all looks
It's
great.
like a combination of reflection and like, not mood boarding. Good God. Kind of, but the dream, is it called a dream board? What am I thinking of? Like
what
a
is it
vision
called?
board?
A vision board, yes.
Like places that you haven't been yet, but also like places that influenced you in the past.
And I'm not artistic enough to do my own like at all. And so that's why it's like, I've never done a vision board, but I was like, I really think that she could bring this to life. And now like when I sit in here and see it, it's not, I don't feel like, I feel not motivated isn't the right word, but I feel one at peace, but also like grateful, because I know that nothing is holding me back except for myself. So if I choose not to travel, it's because I choose not to travel. Right. It's not because of, this or that or whatever. Right. Like I have the freedom to do those things. And so I want to go, do that. And that's where like this whole past like month has been so crazy. So, when this comes out, I will have been like 2 weeks into this, but I've been off my supplements. So you guys still drink fight, y'all rock with it, enjoy it and everything like that. But like for right now, I got some test results back from my like hormone specialist or hormone panel or whatever. And I had reached out to my hormone specialist about it, all these different doctors about it. Everyone said the same thing. And they were like, this is, again, I think that it's a false positive. And the whole thing with me is I'm just going to rock it no matter what. Like I'm just going to do what they said to do and go forward. But my levels were extremely high on a couple of things, and it doesn't make sense because I do the exact same thing every day. So like, don't know why.
You're very controlled in like your routine. And
Yes. And I was like, I haven't added anything, haven't taken away anything except for the lesser of food, because like losing weight, leaning out, things like that. Because I was going to do my show, but I will not be doing a show this year. Or maybe ever. I don't know. So, and that's not just because of those one results, but also I just looked at it and I looked at my life and I was like, I want to be strong, sexy, athletic, fit, all the things, all the things. But I do not want to put my body through any more unnecessary stress. And for those who are listening that do shows and you're wrapped up in it, like that's great for you. That's awesome. You know, go on with it. But for me, like, I want to just be my best, you know? And the thing is that like, and people say different things. Like I've already gotten comments like with people saying like, oh yeah, I like you better with a little bit more body fat, you know, like more of like whatever. It's like, okay. You know what I mean? Like
they said that to you about
well, like just like saying like that they like me better, like when I'm a larger, you know,
like,
size. And then like, and the thing is, and then other people have said, I like you better at a smaller size. And this is, guys, the depiction of my life. I don't care. I don't care what size you think I'm best at or whatever it is. I want to, you know, for me, feeling good in my body, that is all that matters. That is what love your body is about. That is what fighting for what you want is about, you know, changing the situation of every, like, that's the whole thing is like, I've had so many talks here recently about it. And it's like, again, at the end of the day, like if I choose to go over do a show ever again, like that's cool. But then if I choose to never do a show again, that's cool. Like this life is very, what's the word? Vapid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people say life is short, but I
it's not short. It's
like I like to say life is it's finite.
Yeah.
It definitely is, and it's permanent when it's gone.
yeah.
You know?
And the thing is that like this is not the life. Like for example, like this is the, if anyone who's ever danced knows, this is the rehearsal before the big show. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when we get to the big show, like heaven for those listening, like that is when, you know, like that is when all the things that I did on earth come to fruition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, this is just make the most impact that I can, for the right reasons, driving the right, you know, that force, helping as many people as I can. If that gets acknowledged, cool. If it doesn't ever, cool. Like, you know, I'm pretty good with whatever. Like, would I love to be on Good Morning America? Would I love to be on Survivor? Would I love all these dreams, these things I've been manifesting forever to come true? Yes. Will I continue to work hard to get those dreams? Yes. But I'm not going to kill myself or stress myself out to the point where I also missed what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I'm so excited about this. I went to church the other day and me and Jordan, you know, Jordan, we were sitting there and I told her that I really wanted to go to Cedar Point. This is like a bucket list thing of mine as well. And she said to me, and she said something like, she was like, cool, when do you want to go? And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, let's go. And we've never done like that. We've never spent the night together. We've never had a road trip, like nothing. And I'm like, heck yeah. Okay. So we're going to go in August. So it'll be like a month, like kind of after my birthday and stuff. Yeah. But and I'm just like, how great, right? But I couldn't do that before. I kept putting it off because of the show. Mm-hmm, and there's so many things that I was like, I can't do this because of the show, or, you know, whatever. Or I won't have the capacity, or I won't have the energy, or I won't have like whatever. And now it's like, it just opens up a lot of things. And again, I think that there's a misconception too, right? People are like, well, if you don't do a show, so you must not be on a prep, or you must not be eating clean or whatever. No, like nothing changes. Right. Except for the fact on my birthday, I'm going to have some like alpha cookies and stuff. You know what I mean? Right. So like nothing, like my whole routine stays the same. Essentially, I'm just not getting into, like, as I was in a prep, I was just not getting into the 2-a-days and the this and the that, whatever, you know? Yeah. My priorities are just different.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of questions, honestly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind, and this is just me from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, right? I mean, I've known you for a few years now, but for one thing, I think that, I don't know, like I said, there's a lot of thoughts flying around.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think that I've seen you prioritize, and again, this is none of my effing business, but right. I've seen you prioritize things that just, as your friend, that I've like wanted you to prioritize, which is you, and your health,
right.
and what brings you happiness, and
right.
not worrying about what people think. Like the conversations that we've had just on the show in the last year, since we did that episode for your 30th, just in that time alone. And it's also difficult because you're in it on a day-to-day basis, so sometimes you don't see it. But I can tell you that you're vastly in a better place, in my view,
right.
than when a lot of this stuff started, or right before it started, whenever you didn't know that this was coming up, and that kind of thing. Yeah. And I've told you that many times about doing the 2 shows in 1 week. I was like, I can't believe it. Like, you have to give yourself, like, I was worried about you.
Yeah.
But I also know that's how you are. So it's like, well, how do you like bring somebody like that? Like, how do you like, that's, you're being yourself. You're a competitor. You're driven. You're ambitious. So like you're being yourself, but like sometimes people, anybody, sometimes you, when you're in it, can't get out of your own way. Right. Like sometimes you need somebody else to be like, hey, this is just kind of what I'm seeing. Yeah. And then sometimes you think, well, damn, I really didn't even think about it like that.
Well, and that's a great point. And so that's where it used to be, I would like plead, and pray about like having a partner to be able to do that, right? To be able to talk to them, not a business partner, everyone, a life partner, and to talk to, a man and be like, okay, what do you think? And have that outside perspective, right? And just to have that support. And then when I started getting away from that and talking to God more and prioritizing that was helpful, right? Because then what I asked for was, I said, look, I know it can be a little slow sometimes, like I'm whatever, but to see the signs. But what I asked was, can you give me like something that will tell me that I cannot do this show? Like, because I knew that it would be a detriment. Is it
recent, or are you talking about like last year?
No, this was literally like over the past like 6 months.
Okay, gotcha.
So like about like, cause I was like, okay, I'll do all the stuff the hormone specialist said to do, and I'll do this whatever, all these things. But then it was like, okay. And so I kept feeling like something, it wasn't right. Like I shouldn't do another show. And in like January, February, I really was like praying on that. Anyway, so I went and did my lab results in end of April. And they told me, yep, this is like what's going on, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I know, I've had this. Okay. And they're like, so everything seems okay, whatever. In 7 weeks time, that has now quadrupled. Like the levels went up, quadrupled the amount, and then doubled. And again, this might be a false positive with no changes.
Interesting.
And so that was vast. And like, I'm getting into the prep, started getting into that. And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to pull myself out. So I was like kind of really settling with God about like, you got to tell me. And I knew either I was going to get injured, which I've been through that before, or it was going to be something internal. And when I got that, it was like this whole like wave just crash on me. And I just started bawling my eyes out for like a day. This was like last week or so. And I just sat with it and was like, I'm not going to do, like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, because even if everything's fine and whatever, right? The added stress will not help it. And God forbid that this was a true, accurate test that they did. And if that happens, then I'll have to go to like a specialist, and then another specialist. And then, you know what I mean? And that's like something I don't even want to think about or put out there, because I genuinely don't. I mean, I feel better than I have in a long time.
So what I was going to ask you is, like, whenever these numbers have been going up, have you felt any different?
No. And there's no signs of anything that they're saying. And so I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'm over it. Like, in terms of that. Like, I'm like, that I don't want to be negligent, right? And that's why I think if I would have been like, I'm going to do the show, whatever, that would have been like negligent. And again, people go through way worse and still do shows. Totally fine. That's on them. But I have dealt with the past year the repercussions of a coach pushing me and not giving me an out and not telling me like whatever. And not having support in that, to where now I deal with my eye and all the stuff that's come from that. Yeah. So no, it's like, it's not worth it. I just want to live my life. I want to be able to see the Eiffel Tower someday. I want to be able to like walk around and do these things and run a successful business and like, the
stuff that you've been dealing with over the last year or so. It's like I got shingles a couple times in like 30 days, right at the end of the year last year. And I remember I had a conversation with Margaret, maybe I think it was Margaret, and I was just talking about like even something like that, put like what I'd heard you talking about for a few months into more perspective, because I'm like, well, shingles, like that's something that you like have for it, like it can come back up at any point if you get too stressed out and that kind of thing. And I had said to you, like, something like that, in a way, the silver lining, I guess, is it gives you like a boundary. Like once you start hitting that, But I was like, but the difference between having shingles that's activated by stress and what Danny's dealing with is that I don't go blind in one eye.
Right.
And I don't like, you know what I mean? So like,
and again, it's not to compare. And for those listening, like, you know, I got clients who have POTS. I have clients who have endometriosis. I have clients who have had Lyme disease. I mean, there's so much, right? And a lot of people are dealing with autoimmune disorders than they even know. And this is something that I wanted to bring up, is that I think that what the difference is that when you're aware of it, you, like, a lot of people are just like living in ignorance, not bliss. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of ignorance of bliss of like, they don't go to the doctor or they don't check up on these things. And they just think, oh, I either put on weight or this is something. They don't know. Right. And so they can kind of live like that. Like I would have been living, like I wouldn't have known of this, but if I wouldn't have got that blood work done and those things. And so it's just interesting because like, when you look at it, as people have asked me all the time, they've said like, how are you able to like overcome those things and whatever? And my whole thing of it is that like the more knowledge we know, the more likely we can prevent, or we can steer, kind of be in a little bit of in control of that, right?
You can mitigate some of the issues,
right? And so with the whole stress thing, I think that truly I had no cap. I didn't know what the cap was.
Well, so see, that's what I was about to say to you a minute ago, even about this most recent one, and I know it's more of a more recent thing, and you're probably still processing a lot of that stuff, but you know that is what comes to my mind too. Is like that situation the first time, like a year ago. Like, I was like, I mean, with somebody like her, that's what it's going to take, because she's just going to keep going.
Right.
Like she has to. I mean, I don't in a million years obviously wish what you're going through, but I'm saying like she's not going to stop. Like she's going to keep going.
And that was something, and people have asked me that on podcasts and stuff. They're like, well, how are you able, like, do you feel like you were born like that? Or do you feel like that's something
like
you
the
learned?
drive?
Yeah, the drive and whatever. And that's the whole thing, is I think that truly I was born with it, but that I saw my mom always grinding, always working, even from a little girl. I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I was like, my mom would say like, she's working. I would like go up to her and she'd come up to me and be like, what are you doing, Danielle? Like, you know, do you want to play now? I'm like, I'm working,
right.
making lists, making schedules. So I mimicked that. Right. And, which is great, because I've learned to hard work, you know, I've gotten to this point, all these things because of that. Right. But it's one of those things where then I have no chill. You know what I mean? I got no chill. So I had to learn, and I had to be shown that this is your cap. Like, this is what it is. And again, it's not like a meter where I can tell. It's not like, guys, my eye is like getting black and then I'm like, okay, I got to stop stressing out. It's not like that. It's like some days I wake up and it's blurred more than others. Some days it's not, you know, and I'm using these like prescription eye drops to like help with that and mitigate that. So like today is a pretty like clear day. But it's still like, you know, it's annoying, right? Like I can't watch TV that's 5 feet away from me at night without my contacts in. Like I have to put glasses on, right? And so again, even though those are very little things to do, it just, again, is more maintenance things. And I am very much like, I hate the maintenance things, right?
Yeah, right.
But there is a success in that. For example, I went to the dentist the other day, and they told me, they're like, yeah, no cavities. And I was like, for real? Like, I was like, you sure? Did you check correctly? Like, anyway,
like usually whenever I go have a scan done or something, it's like, you're like, are you sure I could just walk out of here?
Well, and that's the thing too. I was like, are y'all kidding with me? But anyway, no. But so basically, I have been prioritizing flossing. I've been prioritizing making sure, brushing my teeth, you know, multiple times a day, all the things, right? And just trying to put a little bit more effort into it, right? And that is where, like, I'll get into this talk with like my business and stuff, to where people are listening to help them. I specialize in time management, right? Scheduling, and also like creating routines that are realistic. Okay. Like for me, I don't want to floss at night, but I know that like while my water's running, I can floss real quick and then I can brush my teeth or whatever, right? Like prioritizing the time, especially if someone is a mom. And again, I'm not a mom yet, like, but like I would hope that I could find some type of routine. Right. But again, like, whatever the baby depicted, you know, but it's like, even in that, or even when you're going through health stuff or whatever, it's a routine. Routines are not mean perfect. And like, it's habits. So it's like, again, that little extra, that grabbing the apple before you get in the car and eating, you know, in the morning to start your metabolism and like start your day, right? Drinking your Fight Energy first thing in the morning to help you go on your day. Like those type of things creates like stability and create that realistic healthy lifestyle journey. And so that's where I feel good about taking what someone's doing and not saying, hey, you need to be like me and you need to do X, Y, Z. It's, hey, this is what you're doing. Cool. Let's clean it up. Right. It's like we're trimming the fat off of like a ribeye or something, right? Or like a sirloin, whatever. And we're trimming it and we're trimming it to get them to the main source of the good parts, right? Yeah. To where they feel like, okay, this is doable. You're right. Maybe I've been in my head a little bit and I shouldn't be so focused on, these things, but maybe prioritizing these things. And I just did a post about that today. I did a reel about this, about me, what was it like, about like my day in the life, right? But instead of being like, everything's perfect, like whatever, I was just like, I rolled out of bed, threw some sweats on. Yeah. I walked to the gym, did my fasted cardio. I took everybody through my day. Yeah. And it was a special day because I got my artwork and things like that. But I wanted to showcase that like, it is how you decide to prioritize your time. Right? You can sit on your phone for an hour scrolling, or you can get on, have a time block of 20 minutes, whatever each day, whatever you want to do, and then say, okay, cool. I'm going to make sure I go get my movement with the 40 extra minutes that I would have spent, right? Or I'm going to get an online program from Dani D Fitness, and I'm going to do that workout and tell her to program it for 20 minutes every day. Like, got you. Like, that's what I do for some of my people, that don't have time to go to the gym or whatever. They just are like, I got this equipment. Cool. And I'm like, awesome, I got you. Whatever you need. Because again, I tailor it to their lifestyle. So it's like, while I'm at this point in my journey where I have the time to customize everything that I do, I want to work with those people that really need it. You know what I mean?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And two of my favorite books are The Slight Edge and Atomic Habits. And they're both kind of around the same. They're very similar books, but they're about exactly what you're talking about. And, like you doing the flossing while you're brushing your teeth. Like, and I think that you're trimming the fat analogy is really good. I can't remember if I said this here to you before, but actually turn your mic down. I mean, my mic down. I can't remember if I said this to you before, but it was about Van Gogh or one of the sculptors, and they were saying that he comes in with a rectangular, like giant, like block of marble, and then he creates this masterpiece from it. And like one of his quotes one time was something to the effect of like, I think it was about David, like the statue of David that he made, and he said, I didn't make David, I brought David out of the marble.
I love that.
Right? So like he just chipped away at that big square until David revealed himself. And like I can relate to that, like doing videos and stuff too. You just chip away at the stuff that's not like when I'm doing your MoveFit video, I go, okay, well, I'm not going to use that shot. I'm not going to use that. Right. And then when you, at the end of it, you go, oh damn, I deleted 50 clips and now I got 30 of the best ones in now. Right. So it's an interesting thought. And I think that I agree with that. And my point in saying that is that that's how life is too. Like you just take out this negative thing, add a positive thing. If you're gonna like with like supplements and stuff that I want to take, I'll get onto Margaret if she like doesn't hide them, but like she puts them where they're like supposed to go sometimes. And I'm like, I know it doesn't make sense, but it's right in front of me, and like I'll remember to take it if it's right there. You know what I mean? No,
I do, and that's the whole thing too. Is like what you just said about the whole Move It thing, right? Like, so you're doing these videos, but like, why do you have to do the Move It video?
What do you mean?
Why do you have to do the Move It video?
Why do I have to do it? I feel like this is a trick question.
But why are you doing it? Because you are getting paid and you have accountability to me. Right? Okay. So think about it like this, because everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, like I'll clean it up. I'll get better with the habits. Who's your accountability?
Right.
What's going to drive you?
That's a great point.
Most of the time, it's money. You guys will drive you and get yourself to the gym, or get you to my gym, or whatever it is, or it's things like that I think that people miss too. That like the biggest thing for me is I feel like in my journey for when I was coming up and doing everything was I didn't really have anybody to have accountability to. No one cared. No one cared if I worked out. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody said, whatever. It wasn't like I had like a buddy, or whatever. And so when I had to learn to do that myself, it took so much longer for me to get to a place of like a routine and like consistency and whatever. Hey everyone, thank you for subscribing and following the Love Your Body podcast. I'm so excited for everything to come with this new chapter of 31 and with going into, 7 years of my business and just feeling so much love from you all. Thank you all so much for your support and everything that I do in my mission. If you're wanting to work with me one-on-one, please DM me on Instagram. All my handles are Dani D Fitness 1, or you can email me at danny@danidfitness.com. If you're looking for online programming customized to your lifestyle, I do that as well as food accountability coaching. So if you're interested in having somebody to have that accountability with your food journey, would love to help you with that too. Along with you guys, we have challenges every so often. So about every quarter, the next challenge we'll have is the Fight for What You Want challenge. So if you're interested in that, please reach out. Don't hesitate. And until next time. But with the supplements, I was able to just cut them out. And most people choose not to do that. I'm not going to say can't do that. They choose not to do that, right? And you can say, oh, well, it's because of this or that. I could still be taking them and then go get my blood work because I truly don't believe this is the issue. You know what I mean? But I'm like, you told me to do this, so I'm going to do it. And we're going to, give our all with it. And, maybe some days aren't perfect, but like, you're going to do the best you can, right? And so that's where like, it is that missing piece that like you have to know yourself. And that's where like I want to help people learn to, one, love themselves, but really know themselves. And those inconsistencies or those things that they want to work on, be able to help them with it, because I didn't have that when I started my journey. And I didn't really have any reflection on, should I be doing this? Should I do that? Or whatever. Or even any like encouragement with it. And so that's where I like really try to, like, even right now we're in our Love Your Body challenge. And so it's 31 minutes of movement a day for 31 days. And then it's a positive affirmation a day. So that'll equal 31 positive affirmations. And, it's been great because I have people from all different states in it, and women and men. And, it's cool because everyone's posting in the group internally. And so it's not really like posting on outwardly, because I was like, you know what? That's fine. And we've done that before with challenges. I wanted it to be different this time. So more safe space. And so that they have a place to say, hey, I feel strong today. And I've never felt strong in my life. Or I feel so capable. Or I love this about my arms. I've never have loved that, and they just got done with a workout or something And so it's really cool. So it's like, that's good with that challenge. And again, creating those habits is what I'm trying to help them do. And so that they can see that, okay, accountability is important. Habits are important. And then from there, knowing that like, okay, I need that support, go onward for my, for my journey. And so that's why I do these challenges, kind of open people up to see that like, oh man, like what if I had this all the time? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so anyway, so that's what I'm kind of doing right now with it, and kind of taking a different approach to see, how everything's going.
I think that's a really cool, like, for one thing, I think it's a cool thing to look at it like a self-contained community where they're like your people are talking to your people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also for you with things that you have going on and whatnot, it's cool that like they can kind of like, that they can do that. Like that not every, I'm sure that you're obviously talking to everybody as well, but like that they're motivating each other.
Yes. And that's what I want. And that's why I have, when people become clients with me, they get into my DDF Strong Woman group. And so like on Instagram. And so it's one of those things where like, I want them to utilize that group, and they do. And they say like, hey, my goal for this month is this or whatever, or hey, I had a win today, or I had this. And I prompt them on those things. That's what you get as being a part of a client, because you're a part of that community. And with that, I mean, man, if I would have had that, like when I was younger and stuff like that would have been huge. And like, as I was younger as a child, I mean, I had that with dance, and then I lost that in college, and then as an adult. And I feel like a lot of people feel lonely in their journey, and they feel like more and more I get clients, I mean, literally, all the time, and followers will reach out and say that they're just so lonely. Yeah. They feel like they don't have that. They want to, feel loved. They want to have some commonality. And so we went to the movies in the park a couple weeks ago to the Nightlight 615.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And so, and I even invited the pageant director for Revolutionary Pageant. She's been on the podcast. And because it was Miss Congeniality. And I was like, because it used to be, I was like, okay, it's just clients that are invited. I was like, you know what? It could be challengers that want to come, clients that want to come, their friends, bring whoever. And that's what they did. And like, that was great, and people felt like one of the challengers was like, thank you for inviting me into this community. And it's like, yeah, that's you're awesome. A part. You do my challenges. Like, if you've ever worn a shirt, you're part of the community. If you've ever drank Fight, if you've ever bought Fight, if you've ever talked about any fitness, you're part of the community. You know what I mean? Yeah, they don't just have to be a paying client. Like, obviously, we'd love for all of you to be clients and pay, of course, right? My business, and then that's what I do. But it, like, when you do that, like, that's what's creating the change, because then maybe you're talking kinder to yourself, and then your kids see that, or your friends see that, or whoever sees that. Like, how did you learn how to talk to yourself? Then it's like, oh, this girl.
Exactly.
And then that, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So it all comes back.
I love that.
So, so kind of looking at all that. But I do think that, with the whole health stuff, when it came about, I was looking more so at like, so when I was in college, I was looking at, I remember there was a big screen, and it was college algebra 2 or something, or whatever, college algebra. And it was a big screen, and they said, here are your choices of answers. Okay, here's the equation, right? So I'm like doing it, I'm like figuring it out. And I look down and I'm like, yes, it's this. I look up, not one of the options. So that's not the right answer. Okay. So I try to figure it out another way. So I try to piece it together. I keep piecing it together. I cannot find the right answer, right? And that's how math is for me. I never ever understood it. It's like Japanese.
Yeah, I can't understand that.
And so for me, I feel like when I talk to a lot of my clients with health issues, that's what we're all doing. We're trying to figure out, okay, what's the commonality? Oh, you heard that your sister's cousin had this, and then, okay, so maybe I have that. So then, okay, or this is how things market, and this is how people buy all this stuff and like Ozempic and do all these things because, oh, well, so-and-so did it and it had success. And then, okay, cool, I'll do it. And oh, well, she was overweight, I'm overweight. But like, it's two different levels.
Yeah.
Someone's overweight could be 5 pounds.
Right.
Another person's overweight could be 200 pounds.
Why are they overweight?
Correct.
And like different things like that.
And
too.
so it cannot be. That's where we get into this whole comparison game. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's why I try to take every single scenario as its own thing and not, but I get it, you guys. I get how hard it is to just sit with it and be like, okay, they said the test results are this. I'm choosing not to believe it, but I'm going to do what they prescribed and we'll go from there. That's it.
Well, what you were just saying about putting things together, and like that goes back to the statue thing, right? Like you're chipping away at different things. You're trying to figure this out. That didn't work. So you chip at a different spot, and et cetera. But like everything you just described, that's also what we're all doing with life. Like we're all just, I don't know, what did you do whenever you started your business? I don't know. How did you set yours up? I don't know. What did you? But past the business stuff too. Like I don't know. How did you handle the loss of someone?
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the process in that way is the same. And none of us really, that's what I think is interesting because you get to a point you're like, wait, nobody really knows what they're doing. Like some of it, but like everyone's, they may have mastered something that you're trying to master, but there's other things that they're struggling with that you're way ahead of them on.
Right.
And you never see that.
And we're all just trying to figure it out. But I think that it becomes when we come out of desperation or fear, then that's where we get, or like, out of need, right? Yeah. When you don't need anything or want for anything, you can accomplish anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is like, I don't know. I know that so many times people will look at it and be like, well, but I have this and that, or they tell me a situation that's going on, right? And I get it. Like I totally do. But at the end of the day, you choose how to spend your time. You choose how to spend who you spend or your time with, what you prioritize. And life can look so different for everyone. But genuinely, if you want one thing, it's like, let's back it up and figure out how to get to that one thing, right? And I know how crazy it feels to feel like you don't have somebody, but that's where it's like with me, that's why I want to be that person for my clients, like I don't know how to do certain things like on, tech stuff. That's why I have an assistant and try to have her figure it out. Right. So it's like, you have to find those people. And I know that it seems like a never ending struggle, but you have to keep manifesting and keep searching for that. And that's what I want to do. Like I want to build a team. Like I want to have more people and more resources and like to help me reach the masses, know? Right. And so that way that I can do more speaking engagements or I can do and travel more and those things. And so yeah.
I just want to go back to something real quick earlier. I know you have a couple of things you want to go through, but what you were describing earlier about kind of you were asking for a sign. And then you mentioned too that like, sometimes you can be slow to like accept the signs even when they come, right? And that just as a point of relatability, there's something that I'm thinking about in my life that's the same way where it's like, all right, fine, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm going to keep doing it. And then you get pushed back again. It's like, no, I really think that I can. No, okay. Right. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure. All right. And so like, I've had a similar thought to myself about that. And so that's why I wanted to bring it up is like, personally, I have a stronger faith now than I ever have, but like I don't necessarily subscribe to a certain thing. I have a complicated relationship with it, but that's actually a positive statement. Like I'm actually much more faith inclined than I ever have been. I think it's silly to think that there's nothing beyond us and that there's not forces outside of what we're able to see and whatnot. And so my point in saying that is that like, it's like, man, at some point you got to be like, and it's like, again, what I'm saying to myself, it's like, whatever you want to call it, somebody's trying to tell you to stop doing this. Yes. I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what else to call this, right? It's like, because normally you're supposed to push through it and come back. But
you're not. That's
so
society.
Then you do that and then they boom and push it back again. It's like, okay, So I know you're not supposed to give up and you're supposed to keep going, but like I did that and like things keep going weirdly wrong. It's like at some point you got to be like, call it what you want. Somebody's trying to tell you something. And again, relating to that feeling at the moment, it's a scary thing because you're like, I believe that, but like until I know what it's pushing me towards, it's so hard to just
it's so hard to trust. That word that you're looking at, that I had to go through this with Jesse the other day. We spent like 4 hours. We were talking outside of a coffee shop, and he said the word was surrender.
Yeah, I love
and
that.
I was not willing, or I hadn't gotten to the point to surrender. And it was just like, again, I had the discernment to know that I didn't really want to do the show. Like I wasn't in it, but I was like, but I need to live this lifestyle and whatever. And I was like, but I got to have a goal at the end of it. Like I can't just like live this lifestyle. It's like, no, you can't. You can live this lifestyle. You're going to be fine. Like calm down. And you know what I mean? I had to have that reality check with myself, but that is what I spent, that whole day pretty much like in the LYB and in here, just like crying about it, because it was like, I had to surrender to the fact that like, it's okay to go off this course because that was not the path that he had planned for me. You know what I mean?
And that's called faith.
And that's exactly. And so that's where it's like, if I truly am a believer, then I have to trust in that. And again, it's not to say that everybody, like, again, everyone, I'm not saying that like, oh, a bird flies across your windshield and then you need to go home and not go to work. That's not what we're saying. Okay. So let's just like be clear with this.
It's a balance.
And yeah, it's a balance. But then also too, you guys, like, I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast, like they want to do things like I do them. Right. Again, my health is my health is my health. Your health is your health is your health, right? If I'm your trainer, then we have a certain protocol for that. If I am not your trainer, then, you can always reach out and ask questions, but you have to do what's best for you. And we all have that part in us that deep down that we're like, man, like I can count them on top of my hands of like where I knew like something was going to happen before I got in my wreck. I knew like I was rushing, before I basically broke my ankle or whatever, when I messed it all up, I was like, I looked down at my shoes. I was like, maybe I should take my shoes off. Didn't, slid, tore it all up. Right. You know what I mean? There's certain moments like that before I lifted the weights, before my vertebrae slipped forward, crushed the disc, and my leg was numb, right?
You mentioned that one,
Years of pain. But when I literally looked down, I was like, these are too low.
That's what it was that you said. I remember you saying that. Yeah, there was that it was set up. And then it's like, oh,
yeah.
Damn.
And so again, but what did I do? I overrided it because I was like, no, I know better. I know better. I'm going to win. This is the only way to get to nationals. No, it's not. I could get second and still make it to nationals. Like I was but again, you get so focused on that, right? And how nice would it have been if someone would have been right there, like, hey, you're right. Those are too low. Yeah. We need better equipment. Versus the men that were like, that's what we have. Make it work or don't. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like I've been bullied a lot in that. It just so happened that was a man. I've been bullied by women too. Yeah. But like I've been like in that with like my last coach of how he was like, well, this is hard.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a wild thing to say.
And it was just, again, like, it's so wild. And also too, I do want to say this, and this is something that's been like on my heart about it, that like I have to let go of this resentment. But it's like, when I was wrestling with posting about like what I do in a day, because a lot of people were like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do all this stuff and whatever, right? And like I work so hard for this lifestyle right here that like I'm so grateful every day. I pray every day about it. I'm thankful that I can move, I can work out, all those things, right? Because you never know when you won't be able to, you guys. So, and again, it's not to live in fear, but just to like embrace each day. But what always has bothered me is a lot of people, they never question a male coach or a male trainer that I see that they have too many clients. You know what I'm saying? They never say anything or they never whatever. But when it comes to me, it's like, oh, well, you just do so much. Like, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to like stress, like whatever, right? It's like, no, the things that like bother me are you texting me in the middle of the night about a scheduling thing when I pay someone that handles that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Or on a weekend that I'm off or whatever, right? Yeah. Like that would be a stressor. But the thing is that like it's more so about what was I gonna say? Like it's more so about not focusing on those things, but it's like I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Like I don't know. I
do want to maybe this will get you back, and if you found out what you were gonna say, then just jump right back in. But like sometimes whenever I hear some of the things that people say to you, I wonder like and again, this is ignorance out of because I don't know, but I wonder like why are these people in your life?
Well, no. Well, the thing is too is
Or
that,
like, are you running into people on a day-to-day basis that are saying things like this to you?
so the thing is that I have a lot of people who will like message me or who will try to, whatever. And, and again, I think that everything comes out of love, or it comes out of they're trying to understand and they want to know, you know what I mean? Or they want to learn. So I get that. But, it's also like just in the industry, when you see it as a whole, whatever, this is what I was going to say about like that they don't question a man for running himself into the ground or doing whatever. But with me, and this is not because of my health. Like, don't act like this is now people care because it's like, oh, well, health wise, whatever. Like, I know some people do care, but like in general, what I'm saying is that like, I want to be that resource for them. I want to help them and whatever. But like when people will say something like, oh, well, I just thought you were too busy.
Right.
Like, no, I'm not just saying that I want 3 clients just to say that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I say it, I'm intentional about it.
Right.
Like, I want to get more online program clients.
Right.
Period. So, like, I can handle that. And again, what I couldn't handle was driving to the gym, waking up to do fasted cardio, then do a workout, then do whatever, and then have to train, then shower and, train 18 people in a day and then come back.
Yeah.
No, but that's not the life we're living anymore.
Right.
Because I've eliminated the drive. I've eliminated where now I have breaks in my day. Like, so that I get that peace of mind, like, which is what people told me to do years ago. And I never listened. Right. And
but that's part of it's all about.
It's about learning that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Some of those things are you dismiss them because people don't understand. And some of those things are like, well, that girl,
And all that to say too, you guys, is that it's not about also like, I have to, like with me, I don't get mad about it anymore when people say things or when they ask things or when they do this. I'm just stating these things so that people are aware that this is like my reality.
Yeah.
And I again, everyone that has worked with me knows what I bring to the table, and that's all that matters. But it's like sometimes you can get sad about it or get frustrated or like, oh, well, why isn't this growing? Or why isn't this whatever? But I'm learning to trust in that and to know that like God's not going to give me more than I can't handle. You know what I mean? So if right now he's still thinking like, hey, you need more time. But even like just this month, I've gotten 2 new clients. I think I'm going to get a couple more as well. Like, that's fantastic. But it's because why? Because I've been meditating. I've been doing the things. I've been in his word. I've been resting more. Like,
Do you believe in the law of attraction?
I do believe in that.
And that's a lot of what manifesting is. And people don't, obviously, but a lot of people get that. If you say manifest, they think, well, that doesn't mean you don't have to work. Like,
right.
Obviously, you have to do stuff too. You can't.
Yes.
That's just silly. I think people purposely misunderstand things a lot. Like where they like, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes that's a lot of stuff that you deal with where it's like, come on, man. Like, you know that that's not what I meant. You know that that's not what I said. You know that that's not what I did.
Yeah.
You know better than that. But I forgot what I said that they misunderstand all the time. What did I just say?
That
what they misunderstand?
Like manifestation.
Yes, law of attraction. So that is something that I think is, again, that's why I think, again, from the outside and seeing, like, things like putting a break in, things like meditating.
Yeah.
Those are even bigger than I think that you realize that they are, because you're bringing more of that stuff into you. Like, if you're thinking about opportunity, you will see opportunity.
Right.
Like, and so that actually goes to a Bible verse that I like that says, seek and you shall find.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
People have heard that before. That's law of attraction. That if you look for good, seek and you will find good. If you look for bad, if you look for so
and also but also like again, just taking your mind out of it for a minute. Like stop trying to control every thing and just like roll with it. Like, because again too, like I used to get so frustrated with the littlest things or whatever. And even like I told you, I had this whole like I've been manifesting and like been praying about. Been praying about like getting a long-term tenant in here, but like that hasn't happened yet, but whatever, it will. But that was like with the Airbnb, it's been kind of slow, so I'm hoping that it gets whatever. So I was like, the Airbnb will be good this summer, it'll be good. So now people are starting to book and whatever. Well, then like they were like really loud and really annoying and all these things happened. And so I had to go home to Murfreesboro to like stay with my parents a couple nights just because I didn't want to risk sleep and whatever, right? And honestly, like I didn't get like angry. I was just like kind of annoyed, but like I didn't have a panic attack. I didn't freak out. And like a year ago would have put me in the ground. You know what I mean? The freaking front of the house, somebody turned the hose or whatever, turned the faucet too far, couldn't get to stop. It came off, poured gallons of water for hours. So I'm with a bucket shifting water out of the front yard, okay, for hours after I'd already worked out that morning, trained all my clients, bashed up the pallet, the chairs. My mom and my niece were doing stuff around here. Like, we're just trying to get everything in order. No one would have ever expected that to happen. Yeah. Then we go to the water main to turn it off. The water main's broken. So who broke it? Not me. I don't open that thing. Like, never have, right? So again, I was so calm, cool, and collected with the whole thing. It was one of the hottest days, y'all, so far of this summer. And I was just drenched. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'm with my dad, shoveling this water out, whatever. Anyway, and so I ended up going to get them food, and it was totally fine. Like, I didn't eat it, obviously, but I got them food, came back. And when I came back after Metro, I had called them. We were the last stop on a Saturday. They came up, everybody smiling, laughing. They got the water turned off. It was good. We were good. And the Airbnb people were gone. Didn't even know. When they came back, everything was fine. You know what I mean, though?
No, I do. And so like, my question would be, like, whenever you think about that, like, what is your reflection on, like, how much better it is to do it that way?
1,000%.
Like, I mean,
I didn't say
like
any hateful words. I didn't blame anybody. I wasn't like, oh, how couldn't I have seen this coming? And you know what I mean? Yeah, like, no. and I always used to do that and got into such a negative mindset about things. And it's just like, because will say with bodybuilding, like, you get very hyper fixated on like one thing, but my mind works and I'm always thinking of 20,000 other things. So it's a very weird pull because you're like and so it's almost like that thing is just huge and it doesn't need to be, right? And so I think that was where a lot of that was happening. And I'm just like, and I hated that. And I hated feeling the super, like, and we've talked about the highs and lows, those still happen. But like the super drop in it and just feeling like a failure, you know? And I hate that. I don't want to feel like a failure. Like, I'm always going to be loved. I'm always going to be, I may not say the right thing. I may cross boundaries. I may do the wrong thing, all the things, right? I'm not going to be perfect ever. But what I can control is how I react to these situations. And was it annoying and did it kind of suck? Yes. But it all got worked out. And I mean, we still haven't fixed the front thing because you got to go to a plumbing store to get the things, whatever. Okay. And even with my birthday and stuff, like, gonna have like just a little small thing. And basically, like, we were cleaning up stuff for that. But like, I'm not going to stress myself out to do everything. Like, I'm just, like, I'm going to go pick up some stuff.
I just think that's such like, again, I don't see it on a day-to-day basis, but just to see through the years, and again, even just in the last year, like, I really, that's why I bring it up, is that, like, whenever you say, do you know what I mean? I'm like, we talk a lot about a lot of this stuff, and a lot of times I'm over there, and you guys are talking, but, I really do relate to you on a level maybe that's hard to say, just from the standpoint that a lot, like, I really do get some of the things that you're saying, in a deep way, and even like the feeling like a failure thing, and like the emotions dropping out of the bottom, where you're like, okay, I totally get that, because like you push forward and something happens, you're like, okay, you push forward and something else happens, and you're like, okay, and then eventually you're like, you know what, man, I don't even know why I'm even trying, like, what's the point,
right?
And I get overwhelmed. That's how I get very overwhelmed by like small things. Like, big things I can handle, no problem. But if there's 15 things on my list and they're all little tiny and just annoying enough, I'm like, get away from me.
Right.
So like, whenever I notice moments of growth where something happens and I'm like, I actually handled that pretty well. I didn't freak out. I didn't panic. I try to bring myself to like remember, okay, so next time when something happens that's like out of your control, like remember, you can handle it this way, and you can, and you're capable of that. And so that's why I bring that up with you. It's like, that's a great thing to reflect on and be like, no, that could have, and a lot of normal people, I
think everyone listening can relate to this, right? And so I think that's huge. And that's where, like, reflecting on this past year of like 30 to 31, it's like looking at all of that, of where it's like, because at first when they gave me those results, I was like, I'm a failure. How could this happen? I've done everything right. It's the same thing that with my eye, but with my eye, I got so resentful and so angry at like that coach and myself and just like everybody, that like, that was such a different, yes, I got sad, but it was more like I was sad. I was like, okay, let's like, kind of bring it back and realize that, okay, but you feel great. You're going to do what they say. And you're just going to keep going. And like, you're going to do it a different way. You You know what I mean? And appreciate things better. And even ever since like that's happened, within 5 days time, now I have a trip planned with my best friend. You know, I have a chill birthday thing that, you know, a little thing, whatever. I am going to spend time with my family. Like, you know, more like there's so many things, and I got new clients, like, you know, and so it's just like, and I'm able to like really give into them and like really, you know, serve them. So it's just kind of like really, I believe in, if you do surrender, like, and truly surrender and know that like, if everything is stripped from you, because that's what it felt like. It felt like, okay, wow, I'm already eating clean. I'm not drinking. I'm not seeing anyone or having relations. Like, I'm not doing any of these things. So now you want to take away my, you know, my supplement. You want to do this. You want to take this way. You want to do, it's like all these things I was doing to help myself. Like, so I got kind of like sad about that, because I was like, okay, you're going to strip away everything. So now I literally am.
What else can you take?
Literally. Yeah. But see, here's the thing is there's so much more that can be taken. As soon as you say
that, you go,
no.
Never mind. Can I just grab that one back real quick and
just
bring
literally.
it? Yeah.
And that's where you get really mindful and really grateful, because you're like, okay, but what can you do? You can still work out. You can still function, you know, all these things. And I didn't know there's some fear with it too, because I haven't not had caffeine in like 12 years.
Like on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. Every day for the past 12 years. If I really think about it, and in excess, if we're being honest, like, yeah. So
which, again, I think a lot of people can probably relate to.
Yeah, don't like y'all ain't drinking your energy drink right now while you listen to this, when you should be drinking some Fight, which is a less caffeine. But okay. But here's the deal. It's like with that, I was like, but it was a fear kind of like, can I do it? Can I work out? Can I hit those legs with the food that I'm taking right now? Because I'm still on like, you know, a deficit, whatever, as I'm leaning out and stuff. And so it's like doing that while having this, you know, all the stuff with the house and the work and everything like that. Okay. And then you want to take away this. Okay. Can I do it? And God showed me, you are incredible. Like, yes, you can. And the fact that I can roll to bed right now and like get to like whatever. And the fact that I'm right here right now and can function, because my brain fog was so bad. And yes, I have moments still, but it was so bad. But also, that's part of the autoimmune disorder. And like, but like, yeah, but like part of it is that like the energy and stuff. That's why I know this is showing me that like I don't have something wrong with my thyroid. Like, this is not what that is, which is what we thought before, because I would have been down and for the count. Like, there's no way, like, to be up this morning at 5, to have done my stuff that I did and train, like. No, you know what I mean? If you had told me you can do that without the 500 milligrams caffeine every day, like, I would be like, absolutely not.
So that's what you would have said if we would have said that. But how does it, like, how long have you not?
So it's been like 7 days now. So it's been a week.
You're in it. Yeah, for sure. So, what was that experience like?
Well, I only had a migraine the first night, right before I was getting to sleep. I was getting like real tired and irritable, and so I was like, okay, go to bed. And so then after that, like, haven't had any headaches, which is crazy, because when I got off soda, I was wrecked for like a couple weeks. Yeah, like it was like withdrawals with that.
Well, that's what I would have figured that the caffeine had been like.
Yeah. But again, because mine is so clean with Fight, it's like not like it's whatever. But I had been.
Well, shit, that's a good point too. If you think about it, I mean, what if you hadn't switched over to that whenever you started having Fight? Like, you know.
So yeah. So like so that's why I'm saying it, guys. It's like the thing that you think that you need, that you hold on to so deeply, and you think is going to be like the thing that helps you get to this or that or whatever, right? We put that in our mind, but our mind is the powerful thing. I tell myself when I lay in bed, I'm like, come on, it's time to get up now. We got to go get it. You know, there's nothing to look forward to in terms of like, you get your Fight drink now and you get to go, whatever. It's like, no, you walk outside, you do your cardio, and you come back in, eat your meal, whatever. So that's where it's like, I have found this new strength in myself that like I was doubting myself. Yeah. And I had no idea I was even doubting myself until I was put in that situation. Yeah. It's kind of like you don't know how a relationship's going to go, right? Yeah. When you first start out, they can on paper, you think it's going to to be whatever, but you don't know until you're in that
situation with that person, then you see how they react. And
exactly. Yeah. And that's where this has been. And that's why it's just so like cool to see. And I'm so proud of myself. And I want to boast about that because like I'm here to serve people, but I can't if my cup's not full.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. And speaking of just like health in general, so I actually just got a water purification system. So I don't know if you know this, but our water is trash. Okay.
That's what I hear.
Yes. And it is disgusting if you actually research it and learn about it. And I never thought, you guys, like I've had skin issues for how long? And when did they really start to get worse? 2 years ago. When did I move into this house? 2 years ago. Right, yeah. So we're just like putting the pieces together. So your girl got one and I'm so excited about it. If you have questions about it, I want people to DM me, reach out to me, however they want, and I'll give them my guide, because here's the deal. I don't like working, like I've worked with companies before with stuff, but really when it's like things that like I personally use, like I got to know somebody, right? And somebody that's referred to me and like trusted and true. So like all my clients, they use my massage therapist, they use my chiropractor, they use, you know what I mean? Like all the stuff. So it's one of those things where this was something that I had heard about and my friend was talking about that they use, and truly, like the water tastes different. Now my water on my skin is different. Like it's soft, like it's like slimy kind of, honestly, like it's like smooth. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, it's just so much better. And basically when they came and did all these tests, like they showed me, they let the water sit there and I saw the solids and I saw what it looked like, and it was just disgusting.
You were like, get that thing in there right now.
Because think about it, everything that goes through, like that comes out of us, okay, and that goes in there is cycled through
back to the same pipes,
right? And so all the people who are on drugs, the opioid epidemic, like all the stuff, like you're getting that. We're getting that. Okay. Like there's chemicals in your water. So not to freak everybody out. Don't want to like stress you out. But it was one of those things where I was like, okay, because I was like, oh, I'll just drink out of my bottled water. Like that's fine, right? And then he even tested that. He's like, it's okay, but it's not the best. I was like, okay. But then he was like, well, do you take baths and showers? I'm like,
well,
I take an Epsom salt bath every night of my life. So I soak in the chemicals. Right. And then I wash with my clothes with even the better detergent, but with all that stuff. So anyway, plus with what I got with the system, I'm getting this is what the dude said. He's like, I'm going to give you 5-year supply of essential oils, detergent, dishwashing liquid, all these things. And he was like, that's for a family of 5. So for you, I mean, it'll last like 10 years. Damn. And I was like, okay, well, didn't need that on there. Damn. Thank you. I might get a dog or something, but whatever. But but anyway, so I'm going to get all that stuff too.
I just now put that together.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, come on. For you,
right.
All right, man.
But I get what you're saying. But I'm excited about that though, because I have tried every unscented thing in the world, you guys. With soaps and everything. I mean, I've had people send me creams. I've really told people I'll spend as much money if you can fix my skin stuff. You know what I mean? And so anyway, so I'm hoping like this. I mean, I've already seen like less breakouts and stuff on my body and whatever. So I don't know.
When did you get it?
Like a few weeks ago now.
So just random out of my own butt here, but what could that have something to do with what's going on?
With my stuff or whatever? No, because when I did these blood results before I got the water. So, you mean like the bad water?
Like the bad water.
Well, I don't think it has to do with, because it's like liver stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, it might.
You have to drink that,
well,
right?
That's the thing is, so that's a good point, because my friends who, before they got their purification system, their iron levels were 4 times what it was supposed to be because of the water they were drinking. And like, or like not drinking, but like using with their toothbrush, and you get that in your mouth, or you like shower with them, whatever.
So is that one of the...
So I don't know. It could be something, but it's also like weird of like why that. But I don't know why any of it just started. You know what I mean?
Like recently, how it, like
just from 7 weeks, nothing's changed. I had the same bad water. I had the same whatever. I don't know. But now I'm drinking out of the tap. So it's like it's the purification system and whatever through there as well. So it's not just my shower water. Yeah. And then when I brush my teeth, like all that stuff and things I just never thought about. I never thought about the chemicals in our water. And I was so shook. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm so excited. Anyway, so if you need a guy, I got a guy. Let me know. But anyway, so plug for them.
I saw a study recently. I also had my hormones checked recently. And they were also not what they were supposed to be. Yeah. Not remotely close. So that's a whole nother conversation about that. And testosterone, in particular, that's the one obviously I would have a little bit more knowledge on. But I do know that there was speaking of the plastic stuff, there was a study done recently that 100% of male testicles have microplastics in them.
Yes, and everyone's been talking about that as well. And that's another thing too. I will say that my Dani D Fitness shaker bottles are BPA friendly, but the thing is that I still drink out of some plastic, but I just went and bought plastic glass or glass glasses, and then glass Tupperware. So
for the same kind of
yes,
gotcha.
like no, I mean, you know, but for me, it's more so just like having harsh chemicals. Like, I don't want to, and I heat
like
my food up.
Yeah,
I heat my food up.
Yes.
All right, and then also, guys, I was rinsing my vegetables with that water that had chemicals. And this is actually, I'll tell this story real quick. So this is how it started. So I was okay. I was going still in my prep and whatever, and you know, I eat the same thing every day. Well, about a couple months ago, I started having allergic reactions. My face was getting red, but no one could tell because I was spray tanned, right? My face would get red after I ate my first meal, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not the egg whites. And I'm like, what? It's not the avocado, I don't think. What is it? The blueberries. I'd had someone pick up blueberries from Costco, and they were different than the ones at Kroger, okay? So I had eaten different blueberries. So every time I had those meals prepped for the week, I would get allergic reaction all over my whole body, okay? So I'm like, it has to be the blueberries. I'm not allergic to blueberries. I've been having them for a year straight and for my whole life, okay? I didn't just become allergic to them, I don't think. So anyway, so then I went back to the Kroger blueberries, totally fine. Then avocados from Costco, they came through. I blew up again. And so I was like, what is going on? Well, I rinse off my stuff with my water as well. So I don't think that helped anything, but I thought it would help some stuff. It didn't. It's it's like the pesticides and the stuff on
where they get them from.
Yeah. And so that got me thinking, I'm like, and now I'm washing it with this dirty freaking water. Okay. And I was like, so now that I just got blueberries from Costco. Okay. And I washed it with this new water. Did not flare up.
Did not. Listen, I'm not a.
So
that's kind
I'm
of
just
weird,
saying,
right?
So so there's got to be something, you guys. Like so, yeah.
So,
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm like, this is just like really.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you started out this, I said like, yeah, I hear that. And it's like you do hear these kind of things, but like I'm thinking about like you said like the timeline of when you moved in here with your skin and stuff. It's like. Mm-hmm. So, but were your other autoimmune type symptoms? Did they kind of flare up or start then too?
They started last year, and that was the thing is like I had been in this house for a while though, so I don't think, but I think that was the stress of everything and whatever. Yeah. But I don't know. Again, it could be different, but
I mean, like the blueberry example is a great example where like your body was having a immediate quick.
It literally was like get out.
Yeah, and then you spray it off with this water, and now you eat the same thing and don't have that reaction.
Yeah, and you guys, I eat the same thing every day, so I don't think people understand that. I can tell with whatever, and this also like. It happened because I thought I was allergic to almonds because I was having almonds with my shake. And I'm like, my throat started closing up. And I'm like, what is happening? Well, I never rinsed off my almonds because they were from Costco. And I was like, whatever, right? Not to hate on Costco, but I'm just saying like, this is what's been happening. I don't know. It's just something they spray it with, I guess. Yeah. But I never thought of that, of the pesticides. And so now I haven't tried those almonds up there again. But that's why I got stopped having almonds because I was like, I eat so clean that I could pick out what it is. And it was like every time I was having that. And it was because I guess I hadn't rinsed them off. And even if I would have, I still think I would have had an allergic reaction. Like from the pesticides and stuff.
Well, and like you're saying, like there's like you had so much stress that was going on in your body, and like there was things that were outside of that, regardless. But
this was like face gets red immediately. Yeah, well, I'm flipping out. Like my throat was closing up. Yeah. Like and
well, that's what I'm saying about the water. Like even if it was just like a year ago that like that stuff really started to pop up. I mean, maybe it took a little while for whatever it is was in that water to really get deep into your system.
It could,
I don't know.
Because with my friends, it was the same thing.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's my whole spiel on that. And like, yes, like it costs money, you know, it's a whole thing, whatever. But also the biggest thing too, that what he told me is that system will clean out my pipes. And this is an older house. So thank God. So that's going to help out with that.
It is an older house too.
And the water heater, I never knew this, but you're supposed to flush a water heater. We boxed it in when we did the contracting work. So like, that is closed. So I can't even get to my water heater. Okay. So here's the thing. The system will clean out my water heater.
Very nice.
So, and here's the other thing too, is your warranty on your water heater apparently doesn't work because you were negligent because of you let the harsh water, it says it, if you look at the fine print, the harsh water of the city. And that's what, So
you're negligent?
Yes.
You're negligent because you let the harsh water.
But because if you have a water purification system, they will say like, okay, well, you did your due diligence.
You did what you could. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
So go read your warranties. Anyway.
Yeah, that's nice.
So all that
that's
to
a great point.
It's like not only helping my health, but it's going to help my house too, which is great because this is a 1970 house.
That's nuts.
But also someone had asked me a question about they said about prolonged fasting.
I'm having trouble moving. I'm just.
I
go
know.
ahead with
I know. I waited till the last bit
wild. That is so wild.
To say that to you. But someone asked me about prolonged fasting.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the deal, guys. I love doing fasted cardio in the morning, but it's just like a feeling for me. I feel leaner.
What did they ask you about? Like if they should do it?
They were just saying like, what are my thoughts on it?
Okay.
And I will say that I think fast for religious purposes is totally fine. And that's something I would like to do at some point. But again, you have to consult with your doctor and you got to talk to them about that and whatever. But truthfully speaking, like I don't really see anything wrong with it. I just don't think that if you're looking for immediate weight loss or you're looking for like whatever, like that's just going to be like superficial because you're going to eat again, obviously. You know what I mean? So I don't really see like the huge benefit in that. Now, if you're talking about a full reset, mind, body, spirit, go on with it. Like that's what I would like to do.
That actually reminded me of what I was going to say to you earlier about the caffeine. Is that's one of the biggest benefits that I heard, and I thought that was nonsense whenever I started trying intermittent fasting. That it helps you take control of like your mind and and like how instinctually as soon as you get hungry you go get food.
Yes.
And also like that a lot of times when you're hungry you're actually dehydrated and like these different things. And so like that made me think about that earlier whenever you were talking about the caffeine. I was like,
yeah, you get closer with your body, you get more in tune with your body, you learn more about your body.
Yeah, you don't have
and what
to
it needs.
Yeah, like, so you've discovered that you don't need it as much, and that's like a freeing feeling. That's the word they would always say. It's like it frees you from food. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't. As soon as I get a hunger pain, I don't have to run straight to the daggum.
Exactly, and it just it takes a whole nother level with that for sure. So the other thing is that someone asked me about back support for those with back issues during leg days. I'm always gonna say a belt, okay? And funny enough, Pioneer Fit, they actually I reached out to them about getting me a custom belt, and they're gonna send me one. So they're gonna sponsor a belt, and which would be super sick. And so I'll wait for the surprise on like what it's gonna look like and whatever, but we kind of pieced it together and stuff. But I've had my belt since I was doing strongman, so like 2018.
Jesus,
so it's lasted like 6 years, you know. So, and I just
it's a good belt.
I mean, and so like again, like, and I don't even remember who I got that one from, but these belts last a long time. But I'm tired of like the whole like trying to get it off. I'll get a lever one and like do like that, you know, and stuff. And so I'm excited about it. But that is what I would suggest for those who asked about that, because again, you can do like the McGill 3, look it up, if you want to prime your back before you do leg days. But besides that, you just need that support to help brace your core and a lot of strong core work to go inside with your leg days. Because that's what I had to do before I ever lifted anything when I was injured, was do 3 core exercises, then lift, then 3 core exercises.
That's super smart.
And walking and Epsom salt baths every night. So it's a whole thing with it. And that's why having a coach, having accountability, you can then, you know, be able to, like, it helps mitigate that, you know, so where you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry. You don't have to overwhelm yourself with all of the, you know, am I doing what's right? Just follow the plan. It's as simple as that, you know? So anyway, so those were the couple things. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Was there anything else that you wanted to ask on, or?
No, I mean, I was just going to ask, I mean, we could talk about this on Patreon if you want, but I was just going to kind of ask, like, with, you know, where, you know, and again, if you want to just say you can talk about this later, you can, but like where, just kind of where, how you're at with, you know, with your health stuff mentally. I mean, you mentioned it a few times, but, and you seem to, from what I can tell, to be taking a really great perspective on it. And you did mention that it was really difficult those first couple of days. So I suppose that's not as much of a question because you did mention that, but I guess want to point that out, that I think that that's a very wise way of dealing with this, and the right way too. I think from a timing perspective, like I think that you should be doing it that way and kind of let it come to fruition. And what that actually does bring me to one thing I wanted to say to you earlier. I do think that, you know, we were talking about like getting pulled away from like something that you think that you want to do, or like maybe that was like what you thought you were supposed to even do, or your purpose even.
Yeah.
But, you know, like the cliche about one door closes and one door opens and whatnot. But
well, I will say this, what Jordan had talked to me about, because me and her are the ones. She's the one that was the major decision, like to help with this, and it's the picture of Jesus, and he's sitting there in front of a little girl, and she has a bear, and she's like hugging it really tight, and Jesus like give it to me, and like. You know, all your dreams are gonna come true, basically, right? Or whatever. Like, there's better things waiting for you.
Right.
She's like, I don't want to give the bear. I don't want to give it. And literally, he has a bigger bear behind his back. Right. Yeah. It is that thing that I know that's what was trying to tell me, was that like, if you just can give this up,
I agree.
there's gonna be so many things that open up for you. I don't even know what that looks like, you guys. I
agree.
don't know.
Well, and that's what I'm
and
saying.
that could just be my health, but that's great because that's everything.
That's okay. That's okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's okay. Like that, it's okay to just be like, I don't know right now.
Yeah.
Like this is where I'm at. I'm making the best decision I can with the information that I have.
Yes.
And I'm moving forward. And like you said earlier, surrendering. Just be like, look, it may be tomorrow. It may be a month from now. It may be you already have things that you're already thinking about. But like, whenever you're speaking in front of 10,000 people and that door was open because you weren't focusing on competing anymore, it'll be like, well, God, I wish I would have got taken out of that shit quicker.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And I think that's what's awaiting you. Again, I relate.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I'm trying to do the same thing where I'm like, I'm just trying to let it happen naturally. But it's interesting seeing it from the outside in because I believe in it much more for you almost than I believe for myself. And it's like, I can see it. It's like, I've lost a sport before. I've lost, I can try to relate to some degree on that pain, but I do truly believe that, what you have coming next and the things that you're building and the way that you're integrating faith more into your life and the thing, talking about speaking. I mean, speaking is, what you do on a day-to-day basis makes a really big impact one-to-one with people.
Yeah.
You're going to get to a point where like, you're doing things like you said, like on the massive scale, and some things have to be sacrificed for that. Some things have to fall apart because you're only one person.
Yeah.
And so, again, this is just my perspective, but I view this as a beautiful like closing of a chapter. But, and as soon as it becomes clear, I should say, what the next chapter is, it'll be like, oh yeah, this makes all the sense in the world. You know 100%. What I mean? So it's difficult to see that at the moment. But.
Well, and if anything, it taught me to have a good lifestyle, right? So a lifestyle that makes sense for me in terms of the food and in terms of like how I look at, fuel and how I am able to find balance without feeling guilty or feeling, sad or, all of that. There's so much I've learned from it. So it's been great, in that respect. And actually like battling those demons and figuring that out. And again, not to say it's perfect. There's going to be times where I'm gonna be like, whatever. But, I like the routine of my workouts. I love all of that. Like I do well with the routine and all of that. So it's like, again, this helped me in more ways than I think that I even realized it would. But it helped me learn because if I wouldn't have been doing this, I wouldn't have changed the way I did things. I probably wouldn't have left Next Level.
Right.
I probably wouldn't have even thought about that I have to have a Stairmaster for a shed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then like,
absolutely.
so it all was great. Like
it works out how it's supposed to. I'll close and I'll be quiet after this, but I do want to say this. When I was talking about faith earlier, right? I just said something to this. I just said this to a friend of mine a couple days ago. Like, I believe. I'll cut to chase. I'm learning my own lessons over here. I believe that that everything does happen for a reason, or excuse me, that everything is supposed to happen.
Right.
That happens.
Yeah.
Where it gets complicated for me is whether it was planned out ahead of time, but without going down that rabbit hole, I don't even need to know that because what I do know for a fact is it was supposed to happen. Why? Because it did.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't get around that logic.
Yes.
Right?
And there's no reason in worrying about it or trying to figure it out. It's like if you ate the cake yesterday, you had it yesterday. It's done.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like move forward and maybe have half the cake today.
And
like
even,
it's okay.
And even with horrible things, it's like it's so much easier said than done, and which is what I was telling this guy who has PTSD from war, right? And I'm like, it's so much easier said than done, but like if you really believe that it was supposed to happen, if you really believe that this is what's going to get you to where you need to go, if you really believe that this is why you're married to your wife or why you're going to be a speaker or why you're like whatever, if that's really what you believe, then how could you do anything but say it was supposed to happen and then happily move forward? It's easier said than done.
And also too, everyone, when you're listening to this, again, whether you believe in God or not, like there's so many signs and there's so many stories from the Bible that talk about the disciples. And even if you're thinking about right now, somebody that's been famous or whoever that you look up to or whatever, all of them 9 times out of 10 are going to tell you that they went through trials and tribulations. I mean, it's just like, even I think it was like the Apostle Paul, and I could be quoting this wrong, but like was like riding on a horse and was blinded and came to, that's how he came to Jesus and then was used through that and suffered through a lot. Like, they got a lot of different, stories talk about like within the Bible about, how somebody was stripped away of all of their blessings, all
their fortunes,
their whole family. Gone. All the things, but then was given 10 times that, right?
Yes.
And so it's just kind of like, again, like, are you willing to surrender this, what you're holding on to right here, for that other thing. You know what I mean?
Chapter, yeah.
Yeah. And again, and there's no reason questioning it because again, it happened. So hopefully this brings some, solace and some just like appreciation in your own journey, you guys, of that we can't look behind. We can't stay focused on the negative or what happened to us or whatever, because it happened. And now all we can do is try to turn the negative into a positive, right? Move forward, learn from it. I know it's easier said than done, but that's why I really do believe like accountability and having those people that you can talk to and feel safe and, come to events, like meet our community, learn more about what makes this mission of loving yourself throughout so special. Because at the root of all this, the more that I surrender and the more that I love myself deeply and truly, the more I can love others and give back to them. And that's a beautiful thing. So
I agree.
So I'm excited for my birthday. I'm so excited for everything.
I was going to say, we'll see you.
Yeah.
We'll be back on the next birthday. You already know.
All right, you guys. We'll see you soon and have a good day. Bye.